All right, good morning, everyone. It's your boy Rome. It is Sunday morning here in the city of Houston, and we're going to get right to this live. I noticed that there's something weird going on with this live, and I think it's broadcasting in 360, and I have no idea why, why it's doing that. But you know what? We're going to roll with it. So hopefully that will still show up later in the feed. I don't know how that's going to record for people to be able to review it, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so today, guys, we're going to take another look, a deeper look at Luminar AI. And I've had, again, more questions than I think my previous videos answered for some of the people who were interested in this software. I believe that the biggest part of the problem is that a lot of people don't really understand the true strength of this program. Yes, I understand clearly this is not Photoshop. And in many ways, this is not a Photoshop replacement. But for a new photographer starting out, this can be a very powerful tool. So we're going to add some photos here. And let's find a folder. Where is it? There we go. So we have 4 different photos here. They look like they're still loading. But if you look at these images, this is atypical of what you would be shooting for a portrait session, right? So all of the photos are going to be, that we see here, have the same tonality. For the most part, looks like about the same exposure, things like that. So let's see exactly what we're working with when it comes to working with Luminar. So let's start with this image here. So if we open this image and we zoom in, we can easily see all of the details. And at the same time, we can see anything that we may possibly want to correct. So if we go over to templates first, automatically Luminar is going to start trying to analyze this image and determine what would be the best preset for this image. So whether it's experimental, monochrome, one of your influencer presets, or, here's one for family time. I want to make something clear. These are not the typical presets you would see if you're uploading something to Instagram or to Facebook or any of the other apps that you normally use on your phone. The AI aspect of this, what it does is it analyzes the image and it compares it to a mass database of images that are similar to what you're seeing on your screen. So if we're using this young lady here as an example, and we went into, say, portrait, and it was you're going to use one of these presets here, so, the one I usually pick is flawless. And what it does is it's going to go in, it's going to correct a couple of things. It's going to add a little light to the face. It's going to brighten the eyes, things like that. So if we go over to our editing panel, we can see exactly what was done. So right here alone, you can see that the denoise was used. So things were done here in face. So face lights, a little bit of face slimming was used. It looks like a little adjustment was done in the iris and the iris flare. Let's look at the skin. And you can see that some adjustments has been done to the skin. And then you can always do additional, to bring it up to what you have in mind. Body-wise, I don't think much was done here because there's not a lot of body that's actually being seen, but this would still have the same effect, and we'll see that in one of the other images when we go forward. All right, so let's see if there's anything else. Nope, it doesn't look like anything else was done there. So, and a little bit here in light. So if we turn this off, we can see exactly what was done. So yeah, so let's go back and look at one of the previous images. So let's say this image is an example. If we zoom in, give it a chance to catch up, we can see, the majority of her facial features, the structure of her body, the tonality of the shot. So if we go over to templates, and let's say we use the same template, and then let's go over to the edit panel, and we can start to see exactly what was done. But if you didn't want to use this, even under enhance here, you can see the amount of enhancement that was done. You can turn this on and off, and you can do a split screen to see exactly what was done. So it looks pretty good to me, as a starting point, that is. So it adjusted the lighting, denoise, because this is a JPEG that I was working with here. We didn't do anything with the portrait bokeh, and we'll come back to that here in a second. But you can see that it added some light to the face. So if we turn this off and then back on, you can see what it did there. So let's add a little bit more. Yeah. So you can see how all of these tools can speed up your workflow tremendously. Now, I'm a big proponent for, capturing it as best as you can in camera, but that won't always be the case that you can, control the lighting. I mean, I've had many of an event that I've shot or weddings that I've shot where, I want to capture an image and the people were either too far for me to light them properly with the strobe or even with a flash or something like that. So I had to just, try and set my exposure based on the environment that I was in, and hoping that I would have enough latitude to be able to correct the image, once I get it into post. So let's look at this image real quick with this new feature, portrait bokeh. So we're just going to raise the bokeh up all the way and see what we're getting here. And if we look at our mask, it's going to be focusing for some reason. Let's turn it off. Oh, it's still loading it. I got a lot of things running in the background, guys. So let's give it a second. Okay, so there's our bokeh, which is way over the top. But it definitely makes the person stand out. It makes them really pop out. And if you look at your mask here, you can see exactly what it selected. And even if you zoom in on this, you can start to see more detail of what exactly it selected. If it's, getting all of the hair and not enough of it, whatever the case it is, so you can see that pretty clearly. Now, I still think that's way too much. So we're going to bring that down and give it a chance to catch up. Then we just turn it off. And it takes Luminar a few seconds, to render out the images. I'm running Luminar on a M1 Mac. At the moment, I'm also running Streamlabs OBS. I'm running Photoshop in the background. I have Luminar running. I have a whole bunch of things running at the same time. Plus, I'm feeding audio in from my Rodecaster Pro, so all those things are variables. So it may slow this application down just a little bit because of what's going on, and I'm broadcasting, so we'll see. But overall, I would say this looks really nice, for what you can get from this. So just to be able to use these basic features that are built into the program, I mean, I think it's a win no matter how you look at it. And then, we haven't even begun to look at some of the more advanced things that you can do in here, like with details, your color LUTs, landscape, your vignettes, things like that. All of these are things that you would normally do in Photoshop, but this program makes it very, very simple for you to do the exact same thing. So even here under composite, as an example. So as you see here, it outlines the image. Now, if you if you click on composite, what it's going to try to do is determine where the image should be cropped, the proper crop for this image. So let's take a look at that and see what we get. Okay, that's not bad, you know, and you see it placed her right here in the center. So if you wanted to go with that, you could. Or you could choose, one of the presets here, from a 4x5, to a 5x7, 2x3, so on and so on. So, or you could freeform it, where you could just go in and just kind of, drag it wherever you want to get the exact cropping that you're looking for. So it just depends on exactly what it is you're trying to do. So let's move on. So let's do a full retouch, maybe on one of these images. So this is probably a good candidate. So I'm not going to use any of the templates. I'm just going to go straight into edit. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on enhance. And we're just going to start pushing up the enhance to see what that's going to give us. So I'm up at about 61 on the enhance. Now it's going to take a few seconds for this to catch up. Let's turn that off. Back on. Okay. So composite, we'll skip that for now. There's nothing that we want to erase. Let's go to light. So maybe we want to bring the exposure up just a touch. Okay. Then we can go to structure. There's not really a lot I want to do here. Under detail, now this, you can adjust all the details from the small, medium, and large details. So if you're looking at, the close-up of the image, say for instance, you're real focused on like the eyes and the eyebrows and things like that, that would be one of your small details. So you could just bring that up just a little bit, just to add just a little pop to it. And then you could still add a little bit of sharpening if you wanted to. Now, because this is a JPEG starting out, I don't see any need to denoise this image. But if you did, you would have that here as well. We're not doing anything in landscaping. We're not going to do a vignette. We're not replacing the sky. So most of these here will be more your creative panels. So we're going to go down to portrait and go to face. Let's add just a little bit of face light. Let's slim the face just a touch. Eyes look good. Let's add a little iris flare. We can whiten the eyes just a touch. There's no red eye or anything like that that needs to be removed. We can enhance the eyebrows here. And then we can go down to mouth. And if we want to darken her lips a little bit, add a little bit more to the redness. Okay, so let's go to skin. And we're going to soften the skin a little bit. Luminar is still working. If you see this thing moving here, it's an indicator that it's still working. And I'm just going to click on the skin defect removal. Let's see what it finds. Okay. Body-wise, I don't think there's a lot we can do here. We're not going to do any high key or anything like that. So let's say this could be exactly what we want our image to look like, right? So then what you can do here is you can go Command C, and then you can go back over to your catalog and then pick a different image, Command V, and as you see, it applied those settings to this image. And the AI will still look for the face, look for the eyes, look for the other details similar to the previous image. So let's go to this one, Command V. Give it a second. Boom, you see it. Yeah. Now remember, like I said, these are JPEGs. These are not, raw files, but this will work with raw files just as easily. there's still things that I would do in Photoshop that obviously you cannot do in this program as easily. Like content aware removal. If you're going to remove imperfections or something like that, you're not going to be able to do that as easily in this program. But the advantage to it in so many different ways is that you can learn these basics and how to apply them you know, for all of your images. And then later on, when you're working once you start to improve as a photographer, you start to look at these images and you decide, okay, um, here's where I made a mistake, in the posing of my model or, the angle I was shooting from or whatever. You will teach yourself to shoot better, to zoom with your feet, to get better exposures because for the most part what the limitations of this software is. So in some ways, this could be a very powerful teaching tool at the same time until you're ready to move on to something like Photoshop or Capture One or whichever of the other applications that you may want to use, like some of the On One products or something like that. But for $79, I think this is an amazingly powerful application, for what it's worth. So I mean, as you saw here, we were able to do kind of like a batch setting. So like say if we go back here to this image, just so you're clear, and let's go to black and white. So we're going to convert this to a black and white. Then we're going to Command C, go back. Then we're going to select all three of these images, Command V, and it converts them all to black and white. So you're just able to copy those settings right over with no problem. And then when you're ready to export your images, now truly it doesn't have the same flexibility with exporting that say Photoshop would have. But you can still go in here and save to disk, mail, messages, SmugMug if you have a SmugMug account set up. This 500px if you have an account set up, you can export directly to that, or you could just save to disk. So if you want to just save them to disk, where did I get these from? So let's say here. Then it's going to export all four of those images. And we can see here in real time, how long is it going to take to export these images? And I mean, even in Photoshop, when I'm exporting really large files, even with, a computer as fast as this is, or my Mac Pro, my iPad seems to do things a little bit better, but it's a different algorithm for how it exports things. But, I have an iMac upstairs here in my office. I have another MacBook Pro, very old. But, when you're looking at that and you're looking at how long is it going to take to export these images, and it seems like it's taking quite a while because I don't see anything that is, done that's happened so far. I mean, it still says exporting, but there's number one. Okay, so we're moving along here. But, this is taking a few minutes. So if you were exporting 20, 30, 50, 100 photos, I mean, I've had weddings where, deliverables were, 250 photos. So this could be a powerful tool. Yes. I think in more practical situations, something like Capture One or Lightroom would be more practical. But this is just a very simplified version of what those other applications can do. So it can definitely speed up your workflow if this is what you're looking for. And again, like I said, they have a number of different packages from what I can tell. I am not an affiliate. I don't make a nickel, a penny, anything off of referring the software to you guys. It's just, I believe, starting out, this may be a very, very powerful tool. Now, if $79 might be outside of your budget. So, you may want to consider something else. Another option for you could be Affinity Photo, which is a lot like Photoshop. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's about $30 or something like that. And it has a lot of the same features as Photoshop, but it doesn't have these presets where you can easily speed up your workflow by just picking a preset, doing the basic things that you do to a photo without knowing all of the Photoshop techniques and skill sets that you would need to do the same thing with Photoshop, or even in Lightroom. So this just makes the workflow, go a lot faster. But as you can see, I mean, as I've been talking, it looks like it's still taking quite some time, for this to export the images. So let's look at that folder real quick. Let me get it. I'm just going to drag this over. So here's our two images as an example, right? So here's the original image, and that image was 5.6 megs. And this one is in kilobytes. So that doesn't make sense. So I must have definitely done something wrong, because if that's the case, it's not saving these at the full resolution. But then this one is 25 megs. Let me check something again, just to be safe. So here's one more. That one's 17 megs. And the original is 4. So why is this one so small? Okay, I'm sorry. So this one is showing at 28 megs. Maybe it was still processing the image. Okay, so that one is 28 megs. So it's definitely increased the size of these images. So here's one more, which is 4.6. And the exported version of it is 24.2. Okay. So I don't see any presets as to how you can determine what the output size is going to be. So that's calculated by the software itself. That's something I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time trying to figure out exactly how that calculation is done. But I'm assuming if you're saving to disk, it's doing the highest resolution of the image. If you were, say, going to export this for mail, then you're going to get a much smaller version of the image. And then the others are going to be set for messages or for SmugMug, which should be same or similar to what you would upload to disk. At least that's the way I do it. I keep it, for the most part, like a backup. And then, as far as like this 500px, that's probably going to be something along the lines of what you would see going into, like Instagram or something like that. All right, guys. So that's what I wanted to go over with you guys again today. I'm going to do a little bit of research today, and I may go live again later today, because I'm still seeing a few little things that I'm not really happy with the way this system is set up. So to give you an idea of what I'm doing, I have the MacBook M1 connected to the Rodecaster Pro, and I'm using a Procaster microphone, and I'm also broadcasting at the same time through the streaming software. So I think what may be going on here is that I probably have the compressor set too high, because I can hear the audio cutting out, which is basically, it was set up that way to try and eliminate any background noise or something like that. So if I'm not like right up on the microphone, it has a tendency to cut out, and I can hear it in my headphones. But I'm going to play with that a little bit. But anyway, guys, I'm going to let you guys get back to your Sunday. Hopefully you're having a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you guys tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. here on YouTube. So if you didn't get a chance to catch this live, I will be looking at taking you guys through another application tomorrow, which is Satellite 3D, and explaining to you in many ways how you can use an application like this to enhance your photography skills and practice lighting setups, as well as working with virtual models and things like that to determine, what the outcome can possibly be, which can in turn speed up your workflow because the more you know, the better you are at what you're going to be doing. All right, guys, so stay safe, wash your hands, take care of your loved ones, and get out there and create something amazing. I will catch you guys in the next video tomorrow, 10 a.m. Peace. I'm out.